We did it again, guys. We sold the last cars in the flipping series, which was the Ford Escape as well as the Honda Odyssey. So now we're going to be going over exactly how much we sold the cars for, what we're at so far in the series, and then going back to the dealer auction again to see what we can come up with and getting just one car to continue everything. Let's get to it. What's up? My name is Jamal from Flipping University. In this channel, I help people that might not have too much mechanical experience go from amateur to expert flipping cars so that they can build a life of freedom. And first of all, before we go to the dealer auction to get the next car and all that, let's just go over exactly what happened with the last cars. So with the Ford Escape, that's the first one. We did make a pretty decent profit off of that one. Didn't do much with it. I'm pretty sure you already saw the video. If you didn't, we mainly just cleaned it up and then changed out one of the tires. That was mainly it. And we sold it for $3,000 and we were all in for $1,900. So we got about a $1,100 profit off of it. I will say with the Honda Odyssey, that one didn't go as well. We basically just ended breaking even off of it. It came to find out after taking it around and driving around a little bit, there was a bit of a knocking coming from the engine, which didn't really sound too good. I couldn't really hear it at first, even when I first got the car, which was strange. But it wasn't until I started to drive the car around a little bit more before I sold it where I started to see that extra problem coming up. So it is what it is. At least I got my money back. But regardless, all in, we're at around $7,400 in the series so far, which is still great. So now going forward, I would rather just have most of the money in one car and go for a bigger profit car rather than splitting it up. So that's what we're going to be doing going into the auction today. And voila, we are here at the auction. It's actually been a pretty decent while since I've been back here. I've been getting most of my cars recently through ACV, but as I mentioned before, we're going to be trying to go for a little bit higher priced cars. I'd say minimum, I'd like to be like over 3,500 just to try to get a little more profit out of it, and we'll see what we can come up with. I will say as a quick thing for people that haven't watched the channel before, usually I don't go for cars that don't start at the auction, mainly because, I mean, if you don't know, when you don't start a car or when a car battery dies, then usually it kills all the codes as well. Like it clears all the codes away. And people at the dealerships, well, at the auctions, usually would actually do that just to try to, you know, kind of get over on you. So I'm not going to go for those cars. You'll see how my whole process is in a second, though. All right, so this was the first one. I will say it's a little beat up. I didn't even see it. I will say when I'm looking at the pictures online, I don't go too in depth. I usually just try to leave it to when I'm checking it out in person. And that looks kind of ugly right there. So, and there's another bump on the side as well. But it's a 2009 Honda Accord. It has 155,000 miles on it. Let me just see if it starts up and go from there. I will say it looks like it's going to rain. It already rained a little bit. As you can see, the cars are all wet. I'm going to be trying to bust through it a little bit faster just so that I don't end up getting drenched out here. And no, it doesn't start anyway, so oh well. Okay, but this is the next one. This is a 2012 Volkswagen CC. From what it looks like, the main thing I've seen so far is this. The side is a little bit messed up, but I mean, it wouldn't be too expensive to repair. So let's see if this one starts up. All right, this one does. Does it have any lights on? Yes, it looks like there's a couple of lights staying on actually. The ABS light, traction control. Let me scan it up and see what the whole story is. All right, so there is one light that's on. Well, there's one code that came up for the check engine light. And if it was most other cars, I would be okay with it. But for this car, Volkswagen, I usually don't like it when there's like codes on a car like this. A lot of times it could look like something really easy and then evolve into being something like just a huge problem with electrical stuff. And especially since there's also other things that's coming up as well with the ABS light, traction control and stuff like that. I'm just gonna pass on it. All right, so this is the next one right here. It's a 2012 Chevrolet Traverse. Pretty big looking thing. It's in pretty good condition overall. I don't see any type of defects or anything with it. Has a current inspection sticker. Does have a little holes, like cigarette holes in the seats, but looks pretty good overall. Let's see if it starts up. Yes, it does. And so far, it doesn't look like there's any codes, but let's see what the scan shows. And so far, so good. There's no check engine lights or anything like that that's on. No codes that's been cleared. We're just gonna go on and check under the hood to see what's the rest of the story as well. Gotta say, it's actually looking really good under here too. It's running smooth as butter. You can check under the engine cap. I'm gonna throw up a quick screen as well for the new people on the channel to see what it would usually look like if it's like a blown head gasket or something like that. It's usually one of the areas right there. Also checking to see if there's any leaks, and it looks like it's all good. So far so good. I'm just gonna check to see if the transmission and everything works well. I'm not gonna go crazy far distance. First of all, we're not really supposed to be driving in this auction. Usually you're really just supposed to back up and then go back into the same spot. But again, I mean, come on now, we need to check to see if the transmission is alright. We're just gonna take it down a little bit. We should be good to go. All right, so this is already the first car that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna be bidding on this later on. It looks like from the MMR, again, I'll just quickly go over what the MMR is for people that don't know. It's Manheim Micro Report. It's basically just like the average price that a car would go for at an auction like this, at a dealer auction. So the MMR shows that it would be around $2,500 actually for this car. But we'll see. I mean, when I start bidding on the cars later too, I'm gonna be putting up on screen like around how much as a minimum I'm trying to get for the car. Be able to make, you know, a pretty decent profit off it and everything. But I'll go over that in the ending part of the video as well. Let's get on to the next car. So this is the next car, literally right next to it. This one is a 2004 Silverado, has 196,000 miles on it. If you don't know, these trucks are usually really reliable. You know, these are like work trucks, so they're built to last a good while. Yeah, I mean, not really too worried about the mileage. This would be the first truck, if everything looked good with it, this would be the first truck I'd be getting. I will say with these work trucks though, you definitely have to check around the car, especially like the bottom of the car, to see if there's any like penetrating rust, because, you know, since these were mainly used for work, it could be where there's a lot of rust like getting through the bottom as well with snow and everything like that, especially in an area like I am. I'm in New York. That could really eat up the car. I licked under already and actually it does look like it's all good, but let's see if it starts up. Yes, and it definitely sounds like a work truck. I'm gonna have to record this away from the truck actually. It runs way too loud for you to be able to still hear me while I'm checking it out. But I did the same thing basically as the car before. Everything is looking good. There's no frothy residue or anything like that on the engine cap. I'm gonna try to do the same thing, go for a little quick test drive to see if everything works for all with the transmission as well. All right, and the test drive went well with this one as well. So I will say I did check the MMR for this one, and it doesn't look like there's even a value that comes up. I don't know if it's just like there's not enough vehicles that were sold for this particular model and everything like that, but regardless, it's not coming up. I'm pretty sure it could fall around the price range that we'd want, like, you know, over $4,000 or so, or around $4,000, whatever the case may be. But we'll see how much it goes for, and we'll try to post up around how much I'm trying to buy it for as a, you know, maximum of what I'm willing to do for it. But let's keep it going. All right, so this was going to be the next one I'd be checking out, is a 2005 Nissan Frontier, but I see it has some pretty decent rusting. And for something like this, I mean, I'd have to do a decent amount of body work. I know someone wouldn't really buy it like that. They'd be too afraid, especially with a pickup truck, that the whole bottom is rusted out and everything as well. So probably just gonna pass on it. All right, this is the next one. This is a 2004 Dodge Ram. The inspection technically is still good, but literally just for like another month. Oof, this one does have a good amount of rusting too though. I don't know about that one. I'm gonna have to check underneath as well. I think I'll pass on this one too. It looks like the sides have been rusted out as well. And even with this one, it looks like, I don't know, maybe somebody might have even tried to do a little body work themselves, but it doesn't really look too good. Or it just looks like it's about to rust too anyway. So I'll just pass on it. And here we are for the next one, is a 2011 Subaru Legacy. This one is looking pretty good overall. It only has 80,000 miles, so it really should. But let's see if it starts. Yes, it does. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. Check under the engine cap. Looking good. Thick as well, by the way. And also looking good. Okay, we're on a good roll so far. Even with this one, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go on a test drive with this one as well. I will say I'm gonna have to start speeding things up again because there's more people starting to come and the auction lanes are gonna start running through pretty soon. So this one was not a good one. With this, I'm actually glad that I did take it on a bit of a test drive because it didn't really go through the gears too well. Looks like there was like a hesitation or a jerking to the shift. So I'm just gonna pass on it. All right, so this is the next one right here. It's a 2010 Volkswagen Jetta. Only has 90,000 miles on it. The good thing as we are going up a little bit in price range is that there should be less problems with the car, which should also give us a little bit more options to actually bid on. I will say this one does have some body work. It's a little ugly on the side there, being held up by some screws. and the rims are pretty rusty, but let's just see if it starts up. Oh, and it has a check engine light. Just gonna pass on it. Gotta save time. And again, realistically, if it's a car like this with a check engine light, I usually don't go for it anyways. As a very quick thing too, don't think that I'm not afraid, like I'm too afraid to get cars that have a check engine light. If it has a check engine light, I can still go for it, but it depends on the car and it depends what the light is on for. But let me keep it moving. All right, so this is the next one. This is a Ford Escape 2013. I've actually gotten a couple of different ones. So one of the last cars I just sold was actually a Ford Escape. And funny enough, the car that started up this whole series was a Ford Escape as well. But it looks like it's good overall. Let's see if this starts up. No, it does not. All right, there's a 2011 Jeep Liberty, 91,000 miles on it. Let's see what the condition is like. Looking good. Also has an inspection good until beginning of next year. Does this start up? Yes, it does. There is a check engine light on though. Let's see what it's on for. All right, so surprising enough, this is actually the first car that this came up where it had cleared codes. And as a quick thing, in case you're kind of like, all right, how does he even do that going forward? Usually for just about any scanner, it can do this. You just go into the main menu first of the scanner, basically the first menu that comes up. And then usually what comes up with is like there'll be a part where you could see, all right, check the codes, and you also see I am readiness status. If you go into the I am readiness status area, you check that, you do the scan for the car, and then if it says like incomplete on any of the monitors, that's when you generally know that they've been cleared. Honestly, I'd say for the main monitors you want to check would be things like the catalyst system, just because that's the one that's linked to the catalytic converter. And for states like where I am in New York, it can be expensive to replace a catalytic converter. So make sure you check that yourself as well. But this one, as you can see, it is cleared too, and we're just gonna keep it moving. It's funny, I feel like we had like a pretty good start, and now here we are. It's like back-to-back cars. It's just not looking too good, but hopefully with the next cars we can kind of get it going again. It's a 2004 Honda Element, has 160,000 miles on it. These are actually pretty funny little cars. I mean, I think they're kind of ugly, but people still be buying them. They are still reliable cars and stuff. So I do like the orange color, I will say. Ooh, but does it not open? Wow, it doesn't even open. Well, that's that. Do have some of the cars starting to line up through the auctions, so we're definitely gonna have to wrap things up soon. And this is the next one right here. It's a 2009 Honda CR-V. Has 201,000 miles on it. Yes, it's a decent amount of miles, but again, for a car like this, it can definitely take it. Does this start? Yes. Is the check engine light gonna stay on? Yes. All right, hopefully this one's a better story. Okay, so at least with this one, it's not too bad of a code. It looks like it's just a system too lean code, which could be something pretty easy to fix. So I'm gonna keep checking it out. I will say the tough thing about it being right here, literally right in front of all the auction lanes right here, is that it could be a little tougher to go on a test drive. But if everything looks good, we'll still make it work. All right, we're gonna do the same thing with this. Check under the engine cap. All right, so everything is actually looking pretty good with it. Now it's time to go on a test drive, which is going to be somewhat of the tricky part. But I'm gonna just try to go really quick. I mean, if someone says something, it is what it is at this point. All right, I just did a quick test drive with it. Nobody said anything. It didn't get kicked out. We all good. I had to like very sneakily do it, but it is what it is. But everything went well with it. It shifted through the gears. It's all good. So I'm gonna be bidding on this one as well. It looks like the MMR for this one is around like 3,800. So I mean, as definitely like a definite thing, I'm not going over what that MMR would be. I'm not trying to pay over. Hopefully, I mean, we'll see what it goes for. Hopefully we could be getting it around like 3,500 or so, but we'll see what ends up. So actually that was the last car I was going to be checking out. The car, I was supposed to have another car to check out, but it looks like it's not even here. I don't know if they already, if someone might have taken it on a test drive and just forgot to take it back or whatever, but it's not here. It is what it is. So I'm going to be going to the bidding lanes now to see what we can come up with.
Miles as he started us here for today. We can see him 6.
Well, that's it. I mean, it was pretty strange, really. Like, first of all, there was only 2 cars that we were really bidding on. The first one, what was it? The Chevy, whatever, the SUV, ended up going for a decent amount over. I think the top bid for it was like $3,800 or something like that. And it still was unsold, which is wild. I don't know what the person was expecting from that car, because it already passed what the MMR should have been for the car. And then I was actually made a mistake with the pickup truck. I thought it was a 1500 series Silverado, but it was actually like a 3500. So the price really would have been around $10,000 for a truck like that. It wouldn't be around what our price range is just yet. And then the last one, the Honda CR-V, that was a little bit better of a chance. I was closer to that one. It sold for around $3,400. As you saw, I was really just trying to go up to like $2,700. So it is what it is. So what do you know is nothing again that we're coming up with coming from this auction. I do want to ask something to you guys though. I mean, with this money that we have, I would be okay going to private sale for the next car potentially, especially if the next car can be a bigger profit car and everything. So if that's something that you guys want to see, let me know in the comments below. And as another quick thing, I did want to help you out a little bit more. I put together a free training teaching you how you can make up to $5,000 flipping cars while only working about 5 hours a week towards it. This is something that I know is going to really help you out if you put it into practice, and you don't even have to have some type of dealer auction access to get to it. All you have to do is just put in your email in the link in the description below, and then you'll get an email to you. But that's it. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to be alerted when that next video drops along the series. And until next time, peace.